Today, we're going to be ranking all of the Red Dead Redemption 2 Chapter 1 missions from worst to best.
Well, there's only 6 of them, so this won't really be anything too in-depth.
And I'm Jason.
And I'm Ethan.
My first one, number 6, is Old Friends.
Really?
Yes. My problem with this mission, this whole thing is taking place during basically the snow part in Amberino. You follow Dutch basically up a hill. You're spying on O'Driscoll's camps. You're basically spying, and then you basically raid the camp. I mean, it's very like run of the mill. It's not anything that you're really going to be doing that's kind of like game changing or anything. You're just kind of like spying and then you're shooting them. The environment for this one, you also catch carrion in this mission. But yeah, this is my least favorite mission. Honestly, I will say that I think all the missions are good.
Yeah, I'm gonna say for mine was Eastward Bound. And really for that is just because nothing really happens here. I mean, yeah, you go off from Coulter, but you end up just going to Horseshoe Overlook and nothing really happens. I mean, the wheel falls off the wagon and you see some Indians on a hill. And other than that, it's just kind of talking, and it's not really like anything too phenomenal. You know what I mean? It was one that I was kind of like just trying to skip because I wasn't really interested in it.
Yep. So we are very different. I'll go with my next one, number 5, The Aftermath of Genesis. I like this
We're gonna
mission.
have a really different list.
Oh, yeah, it's looking like it. I like this mission. I do genuinely. I like all the missions. I'm gonna be honest. I like all the missions. Like going back and actually looking at these, I thought chapter 1 kind of very weak, but looking at the missions, I like them. This is the hunting mission that you do with Charles. You basically hunt a deer. I think you get a hint of the bear, and you kind of have to like avoid him. When you look at this mission, it's just basically introducing you to hunting. There's really nothing unique or anything like really like I don't know. It's just like most of the time you're either sneaking on the ground or you're riding the horse going to and from the place that you're going to be hunting, and you just do a little bit of hunting of deer. That's about it.
Okay. Um.
I know
So
you
my next
disagree,
one, I
but
do disagree. My next, what I'm gonna say is 5 and up. I actually did really enjoy all of them. So ranking 5 and up was kind of hard. But my number 5, I had to put Enter Pursued by Memory. I did enjoy this mission. It was cool to have to get John and see how he ended up getting his scars. I mean, it really wasn't anything too crazy. Like you just had to go find John. You know,
yeah.
it really all this does is set up his scars, and that's literally about it.
I'll go with my number 4 real quick because I'll talk about that one in a little bit. I have Outlaws from the West.
Actually, same here for me as well.
Nice. Well, we agree on something. I like this mission. I do think it's a good mission. It's the very first mission in the game. When you look at it though, I really don't like the opening. I understand that they were just setting the ground here, but basically like the first half of this mission, maybe most of it is like nothing. It's just kind of talking, introducing you, which makes sense, but it is kind of iconic as you and Mike are kind of like on each side of the just little things, and then Dutch is like talking to this guy, and it turns into a shootout and you have to save Dutch. It's really, I like that. I think it's kind of iconic. And
Mhm.
this is the mission where you find Sadie, and Sadie ends up being a pretty big part of the game.
We
Pretty big part of the game. So yeah, I think this is a really good mission, and I think I will say the atmosphere is really nice in this mission. It kind of is dark, gritty. It's snowstorm, pretty cool.
See, I agree with that. I mean, that's basically all the reasons you just said. I mean, it was, kind of meh because you don't really know what's going on, and it's trying to fill you in on backstory and stuff. And you can see it when you like read Arthur's journal. Like, you can kind of get a hint of what happened, but like, it kind of leaves you in the dark for a little bit until you really figure out what like the Blackwater massacre was. But
Yeah.
yeah, Sadie Adler, that's probably the reason it wasn't the absolute worst because it's just crazy to see that she came from what she did to where she is now, like at the end of the story.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
I'll go with my number 3. Enter to by memory. Pretty good mission here. You go with Javier to find John, like Ethan mentioned. I do like the soundtrack of this mission. They do play some really good sounds here. I think what I'm realizing too as we're talking about it is that like every mission feels unique, very
Right,
distinct. Like nothing feels the same.
right.
Here you're finding John. It's kind of a little bit slow. I do really appreciate the background knowledge of how he got the scar, and I do really enjoy when like you're getting chased by the wolves. They are intimidating and pretty scary. Pretty interesting. I think it's a pretty fun mission for that alone. So I put it a bit higher than the other ones.
Okay. My number 3, I actually said Old Friends. I actually really enjoyed this mission, and it is kind of cool how if you let the one O'Driscoll live earlier, he's like, "Oh, you should have killed me when you had the chance," or whatever. I do think that's pretty neat. But in all honesty, like I actually really enjoyed this mission. You know, scouting out the camp and going and getting them, and then taking Kieran hostage. Sorry, Carrion hostage.
Yes.
I really did enjoy this one, and I think it's a nice precursor to the mission that comes after.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Big part of missions for me is the aesthetic, and I didn't really like the little outpost that we raided. My problem. But I'm gonna go with my number two. Might be a bit of a hot take. Who the hell is Leviticus Cornwall? That's my number
Oh,
two. I really like this mission. I will say I love this mission. I love you riding with like the whole gang to this place, and then you're setting up the dynamite, and then you wait for it. Boom. Well, basically, like it doesn't really set off, and then you have to jump on the train, and that's really cool. And you're basically fighting through this train, and it's awesome. You have the whole gang all masked up, all looking fierce, and you're just raiding a train. It's the first train heist type mission in the game, and it really
mhm.
sets the stage. They needed this in this chapter. They needed something like a bang, and this was a bang. This is the only bang in this chapter, really. I think it's a great mission. Sure, we'll talk about it soon.
Yeah,
So,
we'll touch on it a little more. My number two was actually Aftermath of Genesis. I
oh,
actually really enjoyed hunting with man, I just lost his name. Oh, Charles.
Charles.
I really enjoyed hunting with him. It was pretty fun. There wasn't really anything like crazy about the mission. You're just hunting a couple deer. That's about it. But it was just really cool to see the whole hunting system because it was really in depth for what it was. You have to track the deer, and then you have to like you can kind of bait them and stuff like that, and it was pretty interesting. And it was actually a pretty neat way to introduce the game to Charles and to hunting in general.
Yeah,
Because Charles does become a nice fan favorite later on. So it was a good introduction.
it is a good introduction. I still
I'm
really like
curious
the
what your
mission.
number one is.
Oh, yeah, we got some
Oh, I just thought about it. I know what
we
it is.
got some bones to pick here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yeah.
My number one is Eastward Bound. Nothing happens in this mission. That's why it's the best. Literally, there's no shooting. There's like no shooting whatsoever. There's no fighting. You do a lot of fighting. So I love this mission because I was thinking about it. And at first I was like, I could put it anywhere. It could really go anywhere. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, no, this is the best mission of chapter one because it sets the stage for the rest of the game. You're getting out of the snow, like the least
Mhm.
favorite part of the game. You're getting out of the snow. And I think about this and I think about like what mission would I want to replay? This is the mission I would want to replay because it's like it sets up all of chapter 2. It literally sets up all of chapter 2 and the most memorable mission of well,
Right.
it's up there with the train mission, but it's so memorable. And the wheel breaks off and at first I'm like, did I do something wrong? Like when I'm first playing, did I do something wrong? And
Yeah,
then
you can't drive.
yeah, I'm like, did I do something? And then you see the Native Americans up on the hillside, on the mountain, and it's like, what's going on there? There's another element that you don't know what's gonna happen. Nothing really happened until later. It was just foreshadow, but you're like, what's gonna happen there? And you're going to this new beginning, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And then you finally get to Horseshoe Overlook. And like this is the place. This is the place. And it's short, it's concise. It only takes like 10 minutes to do. It's just the
Right.
best mission in the game. Well, not in the game, but chapter 1. Just for the
Mm,
vibes alone.
we just
You're going with the whole gang. You have the whole entire gang and you're just moving. The worst mission of chapter 1. I get it. Different strokes for different folks, but
yeah.
like this mission was all vibes.
That's gonna take us to my number one, which is actually who the hell is Leviticus Cornwall? And honestly, this is the most badass mission in the first chapter. Let's be honest. You're robbing a fucking train with the whole gang. Like, I really wish that there were more of these that you could do as like optional. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Where you could like do multiple train robberies with the whole gang. I think another one shows up later on, but it's not nearly as good. It's the only really good thing I remember about chapter one, like fondly, because the rest of it, every time I replay it, I'm like, yeah, yep, I know all this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. This is fun. No, it is really, really fun to rob the train with the gang.
Yeah, it is. It's the only two missions that I could see being number one are that one and Eastward Bound in terms of what they mean for the story going forward. But that's our list. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe.
Thank you guys for watching.